Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel RVCCIS.Info, the channel where faculty representatives, this time joined by a third faculty representative from Rock Valley College's Computers and Information Systems Department, talks to you, the community at large, about things roughly having to do with computer science. Today, we are in the midst of Cybersecurity Career Awareness Week, which is just as big a mouthful as Cybersecurity Awareness Month was, but this time it's got careers in it. And we thought, who better to talk about what you can do and what you can expect if you're investigating a cybersecurity career than one of our mavens of security himself, Jim Conley.
Thanks, Eric. That's a pretty big buildup. I don't know if I can, follow that, but and Stephanie is too. She is a maven of
that is true.
IT security as well. So, Steph, chime in whenever you want to. But security, IT security is one of the most fascinating fields because I think in our area, you can be web designer, web programmer, you can be a programmer, you can do a network engineer, you can be a PC support tech, and if you do cybersecurity and you really start to get into it and move up in that field, you really need to know pretty much everything about everything. I don't mean that you have to be a total expert, but you need to know Linux and you need to know Unix and you need to know all the Windows operating systems. And then you really need to know a lot about networking when you're getting into cybersecurity. So, and I don't just mean IP addresses. You need to know ports and protocols and devices and access points and switches and routers and firewalls. And then it really would help you if you knew programming, because you're going to have to do some scripting and you're going to have to use some penetration test tools. And a lot of those are written in Unix and they'll do command line things. So, when you talk about cybersecurity, it's such a fascinating field and a broad field that it really, it seems intimidating, I think, at the beginning for students, but, you chip away at it and you start taking these various classes and you can, really, it's probably the biggest growing field, I would think, arguably in our field. I'm not sure if, it's anecdotal, but it's obviously a huge arena that you can get into. Now, in terms of Rock Valley, we offer, a networking degree, we offer programming degrees, and we offer, network security degrees. So I think we can kind of, really bridge that gap to get students into entry-level cybersecurity engineers. And I do want to emphasize it would be entry level. They're not going to just put you into you come out with our AAS degree and they're not going to put you as head of security for, a medium to large size firm. But you would get a really good background in cybersecurity if you came and took some of our classes. So for example, Stephanie teaches a lot of the networking courses, and that, you need that huge, you really do need to understand networking if you're going to get into cybersecurity. So, Stephanie teaches a lot of the Cisco courses, as do I. And that'll give you that underpinning, that layer of what you need, for cybersecurity. And then, of course, web. Web is a huge component, both locking down your websites and making your site secure and secure coding. Eric teaches a lot of the programming arena in terms of web design and C++ and Java and making your code secure. And just being a programmer in terms of thinking logically, and maybe you look at a script and how's this thing work? Well, programming is going to help you with that. And then as you move on, as you get into more advanced classes, not that those aren't advanced, trust me, they are. I guess advanced network security courses is what I mean. Things like how to program a firewall, how to really lock down your routers and switches and your network infrastructure. We offer some of those classes as well for students, so as they come out, they would have a good broad knowledge of cybersecurity. One of our part-timers, Josh Glavinsky, who is talk about a security expert. He's got his ethical hacking certification. And Stephanie, what else does he? He's got a bunch of them.
Well, he got his master's in cybersecurity from NIU, and I believe part of that was getting his CEH.
Yeah,
he was going to go for CISSP, but I don't know if he's done that yet.
Okay. Yeah, so he's offered a few courses for us. We've got some PCT 290 courses, which is our 290 brand is for new technologies. So there's one coming up this spring that Josh is teaching, and it'll focus on ethical hacking. And it would be, I want to sign up for that course. That thing would be great. And he knows a lot about, programming, and he knows security, and he knows networking, and it would be a really, really good, it'd be a little intimidating, but he would make it approachable for a lot of our students, I think. Yeah. And it's just a cool field.
It is. Well, and then Jim didn't even mention his Python class. So I'm not much of a programmer. I'm more on the networking side, but I really like Python. I like it as a language. It's a great one to kind of get in and get your feet wet, or to try out. If you've been in programming for a while, it'll be like a piece of cake compared to the other ones.
That's very true. And Python's used a lot for network security. And web scraping, they use it to do web scrapes and penetration tools, and there's just a ton of libraries, pre-built programs. You can just download them and start running them in Python, which is awesome. So thank you, Stephanie. That course is also being offered this spring. It's a CIS 290 introduction to Python programming. And that is one that's used, and it's used in web, and it's used in just straight programming, and of course, network security.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of classes that are kind of like, you don't realize that they'll help you with security, like Linux. Everyone uses at some point. That's what they might have a software firewall, and it might be a Linux software firewall, or so there's a lot of good programs out there or good classes out there to know. And so Python and Linux and that certified ethical hacking, yes, that's a security course, but these other ones you might not know.
It's so cool. I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking about it. This I kind of, sometimes I think I concentrate too much on Cisco, but they've got this new DevNet developer networking certificate, and I've kind of just been fooling around with that on my own. But you bring it full circle, Stephanie, because you learn about things that you've already got in your tool belt, and they're just kind of repurposing it in a new way. They're doing Python, and they're doing XML, and you look at XML and it's, web programming, and this is looking familiar to me. And then there's, Python, they're introducing that. So you really need to take as many courses as you can and get a broad base under your belt, because you don't know where you're going to end up or what you're going to end up doing.
Right. Well, I took, in the last couple of years, I took a couple of security courses, and the first one I took, they were going over machine learning and machine language, and not machine learning, artificial intelligence. They were doing just the old school programming, and how people hack into that, and just change simple things around. And it was just kind of a lesson in how people think when they're trying to mess things up. And so sometimes, you go back to come back to today. So it was just really cool. And the certified ethical hacking was a really cool course too, which it's going to be similar. Josh will do a great job and do something similar.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. And that's such a good certification, and really, yeah. I think I'm going to sign up for it. So
no, good. I don't have time. I wish.
Yeah.
I took it with Kevin Vaccaro through Moraine Valley, and he's a great guy. You all know him because we partner with Moraine Valley here and there, and it was cool. And so hopefully everybody else will have that same experience.
I know. The other thing I would say is, like, we partner with a lot of companies here in town. You know, they pick up our students, and Entree Computer is one of them, and they've hired a lot of our students. And I would say, wouldn't you say, Stephanie, the last 2 or 3 years when they've put on their seminars, it's always been focused on security lately.
Mhm.
You know, it's every year, and you know, like Office 365, and everything is being impacted by security. You know, and you know, you hear all these horror stories. My wife mentions the great hack of 2019 with, you
Correct.
know, some school systems, RPS. So it's, you know, it's a very real thing that, you know, our students need to be aware of, and good career options, quite frankly.
Yeah, yeah. I think if you went into cybersecurity, you would always have a job.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to see more and more of that, right? All the time, not less. So there's, you know, if you're looking for not necessarily an easy career, but an easy to stay employed career, that's certainly going to be one of them.
Yeah.
And I think the other important thing to note with all of the computer science careers, it is lifelong learning. I mean, all three of us have. Well, I'm going back to school. Jim just did a whole thing on DevNet through Cisco and how to use that in his Python class. And Eric's
I'm
always
taking courses now
Yeah.
too. So yeah.
yeah. So it is lifelong learning. If you don't, you will be left behind. It's kind of
Yeah.
like to keep up with everything. And
Yeah.
we are trying to keep up with it and keep our classes up to date, which we've been doing really well lately, you know, especially with Josh Levinsky's new class and then changes in the Cisco networking curriculum. We've been keeping on top of it. So thanks.
Yeah.
So there you have it. It is Network Security Career Awareness Week. And I would say you're a lot more aware of the careers than you were before. Leave us a comment below if you are interested in a career in network security, if you are in a career in network security, or if you are trying to break into someplace and destroy their semblance of security. We would love to hear about it. While you're down there, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button if you've liked the content, and hit that bell if you want to be made aware of future content as it becomes available. We are sticking to a Tuesday, Thursday program schedule for this show, the flagship RVCCIS.Info, and there are other little ones here and there throughout the week. So hit that bell and be notified of those. While you're at it, you can follow us on social media. We are at RVCCIS.Info on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Anchor.fm. And we do a lot more tweeting than we do recording because it's easier to read than stare at our faces sometimes, we know. So on behalf of newly found Jim Conley, Stephanie Washer, myself, Eric Wolf, the rest of the faculty and staff at Rock Valley College, stay safe and stay sane out there, everybody.